So maybe another 2 minutes and we'll start the session. Yeah, let us start, sir. By the time I'll start, people will join. So, hello, good evening, and namaskar to everyone. Today we are back on Thursday again. In between, for a couple of weeks, we were doing the session on Saturdays due to the reasons and maybe the New Year occasion. But today we are back on Thursday. I welcome all the attendees for the wonderful discussion today. And every Thursday, we are talking about attention to emotion and some of the other emotion we are discussing, and putting value to your parenthood as well. So today, we are going to talk about attention to adolescent parenting. Adolescent is the person who is no longer a child and who is yet to become the adult as well. So when it comes to responsibility, we tell them you are not younger now. And when it comes to the decision making, we tell them you are not that old. So it's a confused state of mind for them. It's a confused state of mind for the parents. So today we have with us our experts who will give us the right direction and right approach for the parenting towards adolescent. We have with us Dr. Sandeep Kavade, sir. He is DNB Pediatrics and PGD Developmental Neurology. He is CC Adolescent Health. He is a consultant at Vatsalya Mother Child Care. He is a consultant in Manomay Child and Adolescent Development Center. He is a coordinator for AACCI PCB branch. He is a master trainer in life skill program and AACI. His special interest is in adolescent health and parenting. So I welcome you, sir, on behalf of I Am the Best Mom. Secondly, we have in the panel Dr. Archna Kavade. She is a Child Development and Consultant Director at Manomay Child Development. She is a consultant at Vatsalya Mother and Child Care as well in Pune. So with this, I will hand over the session to ma'am and let us all learn to about the adolescent parenting today.
Good evening, everyone. So, good evening, everyone. So, today we are going to learn about adolescent parenting. So, before we understand what adolescent parenting is, I think first we should understand what adolescents are, who they are. So, who are adolescent? So, adolescent, as in layman term, we call it as teenagers or teens, which we consider as to be between the age of 13 to 18 years. So, we call them as adolescent. But what exactly are adolescent? So, adolescence is a phase, is a transition from is a transition of growth and development from childhood to adulthood. So, WHO defines adolescence as any person between the age of 10 years to 19 years. So, it further classifies adolescence in different phases, that is, early adolescent, which is 10 to 13 years of age, mid adolescence, which is 14 to 16 years of age, and late adolescent, which is 17 to 19 years of age. It also classifies as adolescent phase as young people, that is 10 to 24, young people as 10 to 24 years of age, and young adults as 24 to 30 years of age, which is also called as extended adolescence. So uh, WHO recommends that adolescence is a phase of spectrum, and we should hand over the responsibility gradually, so that these adolescents will become responsible adults. Next. So we also must understand what changes occur in early adolescence, middle adolescence, and late adolescence. So first adolescence is generally what we consider is, so it is in the early adolescent, it is the onset of puberty, that is the biological changes. Here the weight, height, and the body structure changes. Along with that, there is development of secondary sexual characters in the adolescent. Then the changes occurs in the thinking pattern. So in this age, in this age, the adolescent starts thinking in a more abstract way, and then the emergences of advanced cognitive abilities are developed. Self image, in this stage, the adolescent is searching for who am I. The answer for the question who am I, the answer for the question who am I, there are different social changes in the adolescent phase. Intimacy with the peers and friends, then a relationship with adults and peers. Relationship with adults and peers causes a lot of emotional changes, as adults see adolescent in a different aspect. They consider them, uh, they, as rightly said, that they are not small to be called as a child, but they are not even grown up to become an adult. So here every adult sees an adolescent in a different way. So, this phase, adolescence phase, is a transition into a new role in the society, where the so-called child has started taking certain responsibilities. The society has started giving him some responsibilities and accepting certain responsibilities from them. So, from this phase, the transition from a new role, that is from being a child to being an adult, is being developed at this stage. So there are a lot of psychosocial development in this stage. So we need to understand this, especially when you are dealing with an adolescent. So if you understand this properly, you may understand that how this adolescent is reacting, or how the adolescent has suddenly changed, or why is he becoming so different nowadays. So this is a very important thing, where you really have to understand what changes are going in him, in the biological changes and also the psychosocial aspect. So first is the body image. So so first is the body image. So there are a lot of biological changes going. So we say that the changes of puberty, his height is growing, his weight is growing, the secondary sexual characters are developing. So the body changes are focused more on the early adolescent part. Then the focus shifts from early adolescence to mid adolescence. The adolescent is more the focus is more on his appearances. You may see that suddenly the adolescent seems to be in front of the mirror, more in front of the mirror. He's more conscious of how he looks, how he appears, what he wears. Gradually, in the late adolescent, he starts accepting the body image, the changes which are happening in his body. He starts realizing that these are the changes, and he starts accepting his body image. The late adult, this phase particular is important, where there can be some conflicts between the adolescent. He may not accept his body image. He may have problems that, oh, I'm not looking like this, oh, I'm not looking like that. So this may cause later on effects. So in this stage, actually, some of the adolescents uh, may go for uh, diet, or then different kinds of different kinds of surgeries also they want to do, because they are not looking this way, because they are not looking that way. So at this particular stage, if he does not accept his body image, there may be some issues with him. So the other aspect is identity. So identity is, here the child, he gets in the early adolescent, he becomes self conscious. He's more focused on himself. So whatever is happening around him, he is like, he may blame himself. He may consider that, oh, I'm not able to do this, or everything is surrounded. He is more focused on himself. Then in the late adolescent, he gradually comes out of this uh, focus from himself to growing his identity awareness and his personal attributions, that what can I do in the friend circle, how am I, are my friends accepting me. Later on in the late adolescent stage, the identity is well established, and here the value system also develops in an adolescent. The next is the autonomy. So in the first early adolescent, there is emotional separations from the parents begins. So here they are not so much attached to the parents. So whatever they want is like, they want to talk to their friends, go with their friends. So this is more starts at the early adolescent. Gradually this autonomy and privacy starts increasing. So they don't want the family to disturb him. They have their own privacy. Like nowadays they have their own groups and all, and they don't want the family to look into what is happening in their life. Here actually the family conflicts begins. So they don't want, they are more attached to the friends. So here what happens is, the whatever the parents are telling, they feel that the parents are not telling him the right way. I can take my decisions, why are they telling me? So here actually the family conflicts begin. In the late adolescence they become more autonomous, and they are like they become more independent. So social relationship. So in the early adolescent, same sex friendship is more like, there is a lot of boys groups. The girls want to be more with the girls, and only in the settings, in the group settings, like a big group, then only there is like boys and girls, but they prefer to be in the same sex group more. Then comes in the mid adolescence, there is a strong need for peer acceptance. So here again the issue comes with peer pressures. These children want to be accepted by their friends. They want to be in their group. They want praises from their friends, oh this. So they want to be accepted. So in this particular period, the child may face a lot of bullying, peer pressures in this. So in the late adolescence, the influence of the peer pressure gets lessened, and one-to-one friendship starts happening. Like they make good friends. They have few friends, but very good friends. So adolescent is it is not just the biological changes. It is psychological and emotional growth, which goes hand in hand along with the educational development and the social maturation. So basically, we really need to understand the other aspect of adolescence. Okay, the adolescent, there is a difference between an adolescent and an adult, especially the brain development, where the adult brain is different from the adolescent brain. So what is happening is, the adolescent brain, the frontal lobe, or the prefrontal cortex is not yet developed. The prefrontal cortex involves in decision making. The decisions making is not so well developed in the children's. The As prefrontal cortex is not developed, the amygdala plays a role, takes that role of the prefrontal cortex, and because of that, the emotions, the decision making is more on an emotional aspect. There are a lot of impulses or aggressiveness in their decisions. So basic differences: the adult the adult brain usually works from top down, but in case of the adolescent brain, it works at the limbic system. So down up regulation, it is usually driven with emotional drive. As the prefrontal cortex is not well developed, the all the decision makings are on an emotional drive. So here what is happening is the thinking brain is controlled by the emotional brain. So what happens is these children, actually they have a good their cerebellar is quite strong developed. So these children are very good in motor activities like sports. But these children, when it comes to decision making, they they cannot follow the rationals, the logics behind it, as the prefrontal cortex is not developed. So the prefrontal cortex may develop till the age of 24 to 25. So you may find that some children are very good or well matured by the age of 15, 16, but you find still some children are not that developed. Like at the age of 20 also, they are not able to make a good decision, or the decisions are not logicals. So these may happen because the prefrontal cortex may take time in development till the age of 24 to 25 in some adolescents. So, from here, Dr. Sandeep Kavade sir will continue the presentation.
Thank you very much, Archana. So the initial part, what we realized is why does the adolescent brain develop like this, and what is the problem with adolescence where there are continuous conflicts with the parents. One more part of the anatomy which we have to understand is the dopamine reward pathway. What happens is any activity which you do, बोलते हैं ना कि in मुन्ना भाई we said chemical locha. So why do we have these feelings after doing those activities? So why do we feel the rush, which we call as adrenaline or dopamine? These are all hormones. So there is a dopamine hormone which gets released and gives us quick feeling of happiness, satiety, or it can come from a good food, good activity. This is very the adolescent brain, because their control is not yet developed, gets very easily manipulated or very visibly utilized. So simple things like emotions, addictions, drugs, junk food, gambling, or any activity which enhances this rush will cause dopamine release. Because of this, our adolescents try keep on seek this dopamine release and may get addicted to these substances. These emotional drives causes our adolescents to become not so good at decision making. So they know the rational. Many of the adolescents who are caught in addictions or who caught in wrong things, they know that what they are doing is wrong, but at that time of doing, they could not stop themselves because the reward centered habits, they cannot control their emotions at that time. So they want that reward immediately, the feeling of dopamine surge in the brain. And brain is developed or conditioned for only short term benefits. They cannot see long term. So for an adolescent to plan for studies for 2 years from 11 to 12th standard, it becomes very difficult. He can only think of a short term, say weeks or few days. The dopamine pathway pursuit, they want immediate gratification. So wanting it immediately and trying to get it. And this causes addictions, compulsive behavior, dependence on substances. When they don't get it, there is signs of withdrawal and craving. This can be simply seen even in all adolescents when you take out their mobile from their hand. They cannot control it. give bad reactions from just being the mobile being taken from them. So it is because that emotional or psychological drive which they get from that activity is suddenly taken out, and they give this withdrawal or craving reaction. Are there, so this is a physiology which we cannot change. Are there ways for this? So as a parent, we should know what are the activities which can give good release and sustained release of dopamine, because that will become addictive for the child and good habits will be inculcated. So using this physiology to understand and make good habits for the child. So exercise, music for some, dancing, spending time with the loved ones, hugging, outdoor or games, reading good books, drawing, painting. So all these activities may not be applicable to all adolescents, but each of us has few of their likes. So if we can replace the bad factors which enhance dopamine with good factors which enhance this reaction, our adolescents will stay away from wrong things for the just for the sake of the thrill. Most of the habits which become lifelong habits are starting in teenage years. So most of the smoking, cigarette. So if you can just push that first cigarette or first alcohol by the age of 25, after 25, the chances of the person become addicted to the substance is very low. So just tell them, "Ki, you cannot prevent completely. Can we push it? Can we replace it with good activities?" That is what we have to think. So what we understood is this is a transitional brain where there is increased risk-taking activity. There is a poorly developed critical thinking part of the brain, which causes poor decision making, judgment, and impulse control. Because of this, they are social. They also, because of their very aware of their own changes in the body, of their own changes in society, they are very uncomfortable to go in new social settings. So a very confident adolescent may do not like to go to his other relatives. We also have gone through these phases when we didn't like to go because they used to ask us questions and we used to be uncomfortable what to answer them. So, and this also makes them susceptible to addictions. Erickson has identified the period of adolescence as a conflict on identifying his own self. So when you are identifying it, any objection, any negative feedback, it becomes a criticism to him. So you will see that adolescents are very self-aware. So even a sentence you normally, if you the mother says that you have not done this, he becomes aware. He becomes critical. Why do you always scold me? Why do so? Even a small trigger can bring all the anger out of them. Sometimes even complimentary statements are taken as challenge or identity, challenge to the identity. So even if you are saying good things about his habits, he'll say, "So you expect me to do everything right now? Why are you doing this? Let me be my own." So even small things may trigger them, and even complimentary things may trigger them. They react excessively, and they react very sometimes very badly to negative stimuli like a criticism, failure. We have seen big successful students who have passed IIT exams and everything and are the cream of our society, very intelligent kids. When they go to their colleges and there they face some conflict and they suddenly collapse, they go in depression. There are cases of suicide. It is not that the child is not having the brains, he is very intelligent, but he does not have the emotional wherewithal to cope up with it. These situation causes them lots of challenges. In the family, it starts with the communication gap. So initially, by the age of 6 7, there is a lot of communication with the adolescent. Mother parent are spending time, they are telling stories, they're teasing. The child is accepting whatever the parents are telling. By pre-teens, slight conflict starts, and then in teenage this communication gap becomes very wide between the parents. The mother or father feels that the child is not understanding what the parents are saying. The child is expressing his feelings but the parents are not understanding it. So the parent starts to then restrict their activities, and this causes more conflicts. Academic pressures increase. Now the parents who are usually satisfied with whatever the child scored, by the time he's in 7th 8th start to feel the pressure. Board exams aayenge, kya hoga. Then the values, the child is also finding his values. then he observes that adults bolte hai, karte kuch alag hai. So there is the gap between their actions and their words. So the conflict starts. Then he starts to prefer time with peers, and the parents don't want that. So conflicts again increases. The child now can see around the world. He has dreams. He sees his friends get certain things. So he wants those things, and then financial pressure. Parents expect the adolescent to understand that we cannot provide you everything. Like a kid, now you have to understand that sometimes we have to say no. But the conflicts start. In the college also pressure starts. The peer pressures are there. They have friendships. A small Facebook dislike number of likes on Facebook sometimes ruins their day or makes their day. Then experimentation with uh, things. Experimentation not only with substances, but experimentation looks. So he tries to keep on exploring. The girls tries to keep on exploring whether I look it good in traditional clothes, what kind of person I am. They are doing that. Here is the phase, because of this peer pressure, bullying, violence, and injuries increase very much. Then there is societal expectations. What the adolescent feel is that everybody around them is just judging them. Everybody is just looking at them like continuous cameras on them, and they're exploring. It may it be relatives or friends or parents. Then they are not interested, or they are not comfortable with many of the rituals, because they are developing their own thinking, why to do it, how to do it. And there are physical changes itself occurring, so they feel discomforted. They are feeling psychological changes, attraction towards the sexual other sexes. And at that time, the physical changes and this, and they start to look at society at a different way. And the body image changes, which cause the internal emotional turmoil, relationships, attraction. And now we see in urban areas, even at 6th and 7th standard, there is pressure to have a girlfriend or boyfriend, otherwise you are considered as abnormal. And now even problems where, as adolescents are growing, sexual orientation and the issues are coming out more. So what, as parents, we have to realize is some of the things are very pretty normal for adolescents. Excessive sleeping and difficulties in getting in the morning is normal, because the sleep cycle changes. Mild degree of mood swings, feeling low, is normal. Sometimes he will, for some other or no reason at all, he will not be depressed, slightly low mood, not interact. But when you stimulate him, you get something, things which are happy, which he enjoys, he will be happy. If these mood swings are extreme and they are for long periods, and the child cannot get out of the mood swings for a prolonged period, then we have to think about depression. So not wanting to go to family function, avoiding relatives is pretty normal. Feeling bored, continuously wanting excitement in the form of games, movies, or other activities is pretty normal. Not being fond of studies, also normal, and that was the same the case with ourselves when we were growing up. So before we explore this parenting further, an adolescent further, first we also have to look what kind of parent I am. So a parenting style is formed by the parent's own temperament. So for he was calm, cool. So my father was a calm person. So I knew that I can go to him for any problem. Whatever childhood parenting experience we ourselves have, we try to directly or indirectly pass on to it. So if the solution which our parents had was कि सुनता नहीं तो दो कान के नीचे रख दो, तो sometimes we also do the same thing. The child's temperament also matters. Few children are very easy to mold, and few children are very rebellious and sometimes are handled. When the rebellious child is with an aggressive parent, that combination sometimes is very bad. What is the family environment? Is there any issues, financial stresses, any illnesses? It also causes affects the parenting style. And importance whether we are giving to the present, where the child's happiness, or to his future, also affects the parenting style. What is a parenting style? Parenting style are few factors like how do we communicate with the child, the tone of the voice, the body language. It will decide your parenting style. What are the boundaries? Boundaries are the rules which we set. So some family may set a rule that you have to come home after playing by 6 o'clock. Some may set a rule at 9 o'clock. Some may set a rule at 11 o'clock. That is the boundary. But each whatever boundary we have, the adolescent is going to try to extend it a bit. So even if you say come home at by before 10, he'll try to come by 10:15, 10:30. So they will try to extend it and test the boundaries. What are the consequences the adolescent gets if he does not follow the rules, that is the boundaries? What are you going to do? Have you pre-decided? What have you decided? How are you going to enforce it? What are the expectations a parent has from a kid? Some parents have the expectation कि वो खुद का खाना खा ले और स्कूल जाके आए तो भी बहुत बड़ी बात है. Some parents expect the kid to help them in the household activities. So what is the expectations? Some parents are very happy if the child passes. Some parents are not happy even if the child gets 90% because he has come second in class. Now, expectations is okay, but what are you doing for those expectations to follow up? So what is the support that you give for to the kid? Some parents, so I remember my father used to wake up at 5 o'clock during my board exams along with me, and he used to then on the lights make tea for me. Then he used to sit reading because so that I don't get bored or doze off in the morning. Instead of scolding me for dozing off, he used to sit with me so that I would be fresh. He used to ask in between, he used to ask questions. So that was his support to me. So because of that support, I didn't feel lonely at that moment, nor I felt lazy at that moment. So that was his way of pushing me with support. What kind of punishment you are going to give? Is the punishment depending on your own moods, or is the punishment depending on the child's activities? And what kind of attachment there is? There are parents I think which in the families in which the father does not talk to the son directly. He will tell the mother. Both are father and son would be sitting in the dining table, and he will tell the mother, tell him to study, his exam is going to come in 10 days. The child is sitting next to him, but he will be communicating through the mother. Or parents bring their children to our clinic and then tell, डॉक्टर साहब आप बता दो इसको पढ़ाई नहीं करता, बाहर का खाता है, कुछ तो करो. So this is the level of attachment which we see, that you cannot even communicate directly with your son. So this will decide your parenting style. So depending upon the type of two basic things, what is the attachment, response unit of warmth you provide to the child, and how strict you are with him or how demanding you are with him, will decide four types of parenting styles. When
So can we have
both
the
the,
poll question for them?
excuse me,
Can we have the poll question regarding the parenting style now?
yes, please, sorry, I you can have.
I'll just flash it on the screen.
Yes, we can have all the first three poll questions. Yes.
So the since we're talking about parenting style, I've started with the poll question. Which style of parenting is considered most beneficial when we are dealing with adolescent? I would request all the attendees to start answering it, whether it is authoritarian, authoritative, neglectful, or permissive.
So by the time you're answering, I will just give you certain thing. Authoritative means you are supporting the child as well as keeping demands to the child. Authoritarian means you are demanding but not supporting the child. Permissive means you are supporting the child but there are no demands. And uninvolved means there is neither support nor demand. So
So
let's
there
see.
another 10 seconds will wait
Yes.
and show the results as well. So please give your answers because we cannot see your names. You can answer it anonymously.
See, this is
So
a
maximum
natural style. It is no right or wrong.
understanding.
We will discuss which is more beneficial, but your style is your own style. So don't worry about correct or right or wrong answers. We are all here to learn.
Yes, I believe. So I'll end it now and I'm sharing the results. So the results are, sir, 24% believe authoritarian, 19% says authoritative, and permissive is 57%, and neglectful is zero. So that is the reason I believe all the attendees are here because they are quite
Yes.
uh,
They are not
giving.
neglectful parents.
Yeah, yes. So
That
over
we
to
are
you,
sure
sir.
of. Let's discuss the, now you have given the answers. Let's discuss which of this is, what will happen, which different styles of parenting. So when there is a child is having an authoritarian parent is what, मैं जो बोलूंगा वो सही, मेरा रास्ता सिर्फ correct है, I don't want to listen to you. Why did not you wake up at 5 o'clock? Why did not you finish your studies? Don't give me back answers. So this is so the father or mother is an Hitler, or at least the children must be thinking in those ways. I had my friends who used to store their father and father's number in the phone as Hitler. So just imagine what they must be calling us. So these children, because of your authority nature, will follow rules all the time. So, but this obedience will come at a price. These children develop self-esteem issues because their opinions are not asked for nor valued. So they don't have the confidence to go and express their opinions when they grow up. They either become hostile or aggressive, or they become cocooned within their own thing. They do not know how to express their disagreements to other people. They keep on getting anger towards their parent, but as they are fearful of the consequences, they don't express it. They try to stay away from. As they grow up, as they become young, means after 20s, they try to stay away from the parents, and they, some of the clever ones may also become good liars to avoid the punishment. So बताना नहीं, जो मम्मा पापा को पता नहीं तो उससे सजा नहीं मिल सकती. So this happens when you are an authoritarian parent. What happens when a permissive parent? So many of us are permissive, especially with younger kids. तो 5 6 7 साल का तुझे बेटा क्या चाहिए ले ले, फोन चाहिए, रो मत बेटा, ये खाना है खा ले. So we are doing those things. They have more behavioral problems as they don't appreciate authority and rules. They often have low self-esteem because they also don't report, because see, when you get everything easily, you don't know the value of that thing. They are also higher risk of poor personal and dental hygiene, health problems like obesity, क्योंकि मम्मा को उसको खिलाना ही है, टीवी के सामने बैठ, बेटा मैं तुझे खिलाती हूँ पर तू रो मत, तुझे जो खाना है तो खा. So this happens. So junk food habits. So permissive parenting, they struggle academically because parents don't know how to push him. The problem with is, by young kids, this is okay. By 6 7 years you take the child is in the habit कि मम्मा पापा जो मैं बोलूँ वो करते हैं, मैं घर का राजा हूँ, ये सब मेरे काम करने वाले लोग हैं. That is what the thinking process starts in the child's mind. And now, by the child becomes 10 11 years, the mother father is going to worry, how will he cope in exams, he cannot do things which like his friends, he's having these problems, he cannot express himself, so we need to push it. Now they start to make rules, but the child is not in a habit of making any rules or accepting any rules, and this causes problems. There are certain these restrictions and disciplining will cause fights in the family, and the parents also don't know how to make them listen. So it is better to have good parenting style from the beginning instead of making a sudden change when we realize. So what is the best parenting style? It is the authoritative parenting. They put a lot of efforts into creating and maintaining a positive relationship with the child, but at the same time they also enforce the rules properly and they explain the reasons. So the rule is not because papa ko aise lagta hai ya mama ko aise lagta hai. The rule is because, see, you have to eat good food because we have to grow strong. So for younger kid it will be just because baby ko strong banna hai, baby ko ye karna hai, so that would be. For adolescent you have to tell why this deficiencies is causing a problem, why eating this is. So if you explain the rationale behind the rule, it is at least better than just enforcing it. They don't just give punishments, they give consequences. So if you follow these rules, you are going to get this privilege. If you don't, we are going to take away this privilege. I don't want to hit you, I don't want to fight with you, but these are the rules you have to follow. But when they are formulating these consequences, they also take the child's opinion into it. So they sit down, see, from next 2 months you have an exam which is very important, so you have to plan it. So what do you think is the correct time to study, and what do you think is the amount of study you should do? The child may keep an opinion that I will play for 2 hours, and after that I will study. Then you have the parent tells, no, I know that you are going to follow this, but going for playing and then when you are engaged in a match, it becomes very difficult to come. So why don't we do like this, that you finish your studies for 2 hours, when you are satisfied you show me the work, if it's satisfied I'll let you, then you can play without any stress for the next 2 hours. So no problem. You are decided to study for 2 hours, but the timing of the study I will decide, so that both of us will benefit. So they have taken the child's opinion into mind, but also given him certain boundaries so that he gets benefited from it. They validate the feeling that I understand you cannot go to the competition, so you are feeling bad, but we don't have an option because excesses. I understand that you are not unhappy because you do not get a phone like your friend, but understand that your friend's financial condition, my financial condition is different. We have to work according to our own. So when you give them with this proper reasons, they understand that you are not denying him something just because you have the authority. You are telling him the truth. That is what authoritative parenting does. They invest time and energy into preventing behavior problems. So they will spend time before, so once the child back answers, they will sit down with him. See, I understand you are angry, but the way you spoke with me won't be accepted in school or any other place, so please tone down your voice. So they won't keep on fighting with the kid. Instead they will make him realize how that behavioral problem may cause a problem, behavioral issue may cause a problem later. They use positive discipline strategies. So we'll discuss with positive discipline later on, because this is the best form of discipline. So authoritative parenting does that. This is the best form. It gives warmth or attachment. So even if there is a problem, the child comes to you to seek solace or seek advice, but also demands better behavior and better decisions from the kid. So children of such parents are happy and successful, and they also make good decisions, and they also evaluate risk from their decisions. This is how they impact. Problem comes when couple, so father has a different parenting style and mother has a different parenting style. We must realize that both parents should be on the same page. If they are not, there will be confusion in the minds of the teen. So he doesn't understand whether mother is correct or father is correct, and he usually will go to the person which gives him his uh, demands, fulfill his demands. They will learn. Some of the clever kids will learn to manipulate. They know go to father when they have to ask for certain things, they go to mother when they have to ask certain, and they will play the parents against each other, and they may even emotionally blackmail parents, which is especially true when there are cases of family problems like marital discords. So the greater problem is when one parent is authoritarian and other is permissive. So the permissive parent becomes a good parent initially. Later on, the child will realize, but because of this, I got into bad habits, so authoritarian was better. So it is a mess. Permissive and neglectful combination is a mess. Authoritarian and neglectful also is a mess. So these couples where they have so diverse view of parenting become very odd couples. And that parenting style, आपके कारण ये आदत लगी, तुम्हारे कारण ये हुआ, so that becomes a conflict between the parents. So what we have to do is, as a parent, we have to have communication between the husband and wife, and realize that it is not a race to get the affections of the child. Both parents are there to help the kid. They have to decide what kind of boundaries are there, who will do the rules, who will speak, and whenever they have to take a decision which the other person may react differently, you have to tell, wait, I understand your problem, but let me speak with the father. We will discuss and give a common resolution to your problem. So when you do that, the child cannot play with you, and you can look at a problem from all the aspects and take a common decision instead of just fighting it out later. So communication between parents is very important, especially if their parenting styles are different. As we discuss about positive discipline, boundaries are very important. So setting limits as per the age, as per the maturity of the child, and as per the requirements or needs of the child is very important. These are the structures which are helpful for the child to prosper. जैसे एक पौधा होता है, पौधे को हम वो जाली लगाते हैं ताकि प्रोटेक्ट कर पाए, तभी वो ग्रो हो सकता है. कभी कभी स्टिक लगाते हैं ताकि उसका डायरेक्शन करेक्ट हो. सो दैट स्ट्रक्चर हेल्प्स द plant to grow. Similarly, structure which is the rules within the house will help. We have to avoid continuous or excessive monitoring where the child does not feel trusted, gradually give him freedom so that he can gradually explore his own abilities, give him the communication ability, communication skills, so that he can come and report you that I was successful in doing such a thing, or I was facing problems in it, what should I do the next time. So you give them the boundaries and gradually decrease the boundaries so that he can prosper. And when he's decreasing the boundaries, hold his hand so that you can resolve the issues which arise. So boundaries as well as independence and the balance between the two is important for parents. So each family must sit together and make ground rules. The ground rule can be no food in front of the TV. It can be no mobile after 10 p.m. or it can be that studies have to be finished before going to play. Whatever the ground rules, they have to be formulated, told, and communicated properly. They once they are decided, they should be firmly put in place. The parent have to decide what kind of consequence will you get if you don't study on time or if you don't submit your assignment. Then what we'll do, we'll have to skip TV time for the next 2 days. Whatever TV time, you'll have to lose it. And once you decide the consequences, you have to enforce it. Just because the child comes and feels sorry, I agreed. We can speak, beta, and we can speak about it. But the decided consequences is no TV time for the next 2 days, no TV time. Rewards for the good behavior also should be pre-decided. Just because we get emotional after a child makes a mistake, don't give him any punishment. Whatever the consequence has been pre-decided, enforce it. This is positive discipline. There are few tips. What happens is when you're communicating with the teen, many a times normal conversation goes into a, either a lecture or into a conflict with the kid. So this is a simple rule. Remember, never argue with your teen. So what is argue? A is don't advise, preach or lecture. In few years, the adolescent has become so insensitive to your criticism that he'll hear from one ear out of the other, and then after 10 minutes say, "Ho gaya, guess, are you cool now? So shall I go to play? Shall I go to do my own thing?" So he knows that mama will speak for 5-10 minutes and forget it. Instead of don't advise, don't preach, don't lecture. Wait, discuss with him. Don't keep on repeating yourself. Especially with mothers, this becomes a problem where when the adolescent comes to us, he or she will tell that mother is continuously nagging for exams. सुन सुन के मैं पक गई हूँ. एग्जाम्स अप्रैल में है, मम्मा अभी से 10 महीने से उसका चालू किया है, सुबह से लेकर रात तक पढ़ाई क्या है, पढ़ाई क्या. Don't do that. Discuss with the child. After 3-4 days, sit. Today will be plan what your studies, how is it going. Let me hear what problems you have. So child feels that there is no other activity only to study, and the child becomes burdened. So you are passing on the stress instead of caution to the child. So don't repeat to yourself on nag. G is don't get them to agree or accept your side. मैं जो बोल रही हूँ वो सही है, तुम्हें समझना ही पड़ेगा. Don't do that. Understand that they are from a different generation. They have different perspective, and they may or may not agree to everything or each and everything which you say. But agree to disagree at that time. Don't give ultimatums or threats, especially which you are not going to fulfill. घर के बाहर निकाल दूंगा, ये कर दूंगा. Don't do this emotional dramas with the kid. Kids start to learn them, or kids start to ignore them, both of which are dangerous. Don't explain or defend your policy at the time. So what happens is you're fighting with or arguing with the child for something, and then you start to, अरे हमने गरीबी में दिन बिताए थे, ऐसे प्रॉब्लम आए थे, इसलिए हम आज आए, तुम कुछ सब. See, when the child is not in the mood to listen, don't give him that whole history why you are telling this or why that decision is useful to the child in the end. Calm down. You calm down, let the child calm down. Later on, sit together, discuss. If a parent gets emotional on a certain subject, wait, let the other parent handle sometimes some situation. So probably my father used to be able to communicate with me better than my mother. So he used to do that. So even if my mother's concern, he used to communicate. Whereas my mother, who used to communicate on certain other things, so she used to communicate better with my sister. So we have to decide which is the better way to communicate with the kids, and then do it instead of just uh, arguing it. So never argue with your teen. Just keep in this mind. In spite of this, sometimes your child is going to have a meltdown. He's going to fight, he's going to argue. So there will be, especially with girls, there will be sudden fits of crying. She also doesn't know why, but for 10, 15 minutes, she feels like crying. So whenever a meltdown happens, first of all, cool down yourself and cool down the child. At that point, there is no purpose in arguing or making you understand or lecturing anything. First, control your own emotions, control the kid's emotion. There is no problem so big which you're going to, as it is in that mood, you're not going to solve any problem. Cool down. Second, assess the options. See, you caught your child copying. Your child failed in exam. What are you going to do by scolding him right now? Sit down. Tell him, now it is already over. You already have failed the exam. What are the options in between, in front of us? Calm down. We'll discuss. We are not telling you tell remove the child of the hook, but at least discuss him. See, if on this path this is going to happen on this path, I expect improvement in the this. This is not totally. This is totally unacceptable. So, what are your options? So assess the options with the kid. Let him speak. Let him express himself. Listen with empathy. Empathy is what? Going into his own shoes, understanding his own mind, our kid's mind, and listening to him. Some of the problems which you feel are small may be very big in his mind. Give him support. Listen with empathy. And then sit with him. Make a plan. Make a plan is don't make your plan for him. मैं बताता हूँ रात सुबह से लेके 6 घंटा पढ़ेगा. Help him to make a plan. So this calm will help you to make strategies. Cool down, assess your options, listen to the kid with empathy, and then help the kid or help the adolescent make a plan and give support to the adolescent to follow that plan. Once this adolescent gets into habit of understanding their own mistakes and then taking responsibility for the mistake and changing the consequences or changing the results by changing their behavior is a very important cycle to become an adult. Our adolescent, see, there is no adult or person who has never made a mistake in his life. So our adolescents are going to be, especially as we have seen, they are very emotional and don't have a controlling or critical thinking capacity. So they are going to make a mistake. We have made mistakes when we were adolescents. But what we need is that mistake should not become a precursor to conflicts within the family, nor it should be a precursor for labeling the kid as ये तो ऐसे ही है, गुस्सेला है, ये हमेशा झगड़ा करता है ये. So once you do that labeling part, the child starts to follow that mode. Once the child is ostracized from the group or society, this the child starts to spend time more with bad elements, and he gets into further and further trouble. So when you know the problem for the first down, calmly approach him. So cool down, assess options, listen with empathy, and then make a plan and follow the plan. Parents' problems cause many teen mental health issues. So the quality of family life, how calm the family is, the relationship between the father and mother. It is said that the best thing a father can do for his kid is to love his mother, the kid's mother, because that relation, if it is positive, the child has peace in house. So he knows that in spite of there may be problems outside, in my family I'm going to get attachment and I'm going to get support from my parents. Sometimes parents themselves are facing financial issues, health issues, but to remain cool and calm during that problems and then showing resolve is very important because the kids are watching us. And we have to, when there are problems which are bigger than us, sometimes problems will overwhelm even the best of the adults. We have to find social support during problems like illnesses and the kids to solve those problems. Building a healthy family environment is the best thing you could do for your kid and your adolescent. A house where positive emotions are discussed. So instead of criticism, there is discussion on growth, discussion on positivity. When you stimulate the child and make him aware of his own responsibilities as well as give him support to express his intellectual or opinions. When there are thriving friendships within the family and with others, so that the child has support systems outside of the family also. A calm home which gives the importance of sleep, exercise, meditation, and nutrition to the kid. So all these qualities in a calm home become second nature. So children from such families are cool. They easily accept and adapt to better changes. They are what is known as a resilient child. So this resilience come from your structure. So as a parent, it is our job to provide that structure to the kid. Remember, parents are the role models. So we must practice what we preach. Even 3-year-olds know कि when their father is just saying for the sake of saying and not following it. Adolescents can read our body language, can read our situations very easily, and they know what you're saying or doing is whether you're following it up. We may lecture the child on good health habits, but if the father or has the addictions or the mother doesn't take care of her own health, how are we going to teach them to follow those principles? So remember, they may hear you, they may forget your lectures, they may not pay attention, but they are looking at you. They are 24 hours cameras. So when you are telling them something, learn to walk the talk. If you expect them to be fiscally financially responsible, show financial responsibility, what it means to be financial responsible. If you're telling them good nutrition habits, show them what good nutrition habits are there, how they can enjoy those good nutrition habits. Today, the child may not follow each and everything, but as the child grows, he gradually imbibes all those qualities and later expresses them. We, as adolescent experts, are constantly seeking because this is the age where bad and good habits both come into play. And young adolescents or young adults can change the world. We just saw young adult players like just adults, 20-year-old Shubman Gill, 23-year-old Rishabh Pant. They won us a match which was found difficult to win. Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Rahul Dravid, Anil Kumble, all the stars went to Australia many times, could not do this. This team of youngsters did. So if there is positive support, positive environment within the family, youngsters can achieve miracles. So we are doing different activities. One of is the AKI, Adolescent Association of Adolescent and Childcare in India. This is a website. So if we have very pre-recorded sessions on grandparenting, parenting on the Facebook page. So if you want further information about how to discuss social media with adolescents, how to decide the role of grandparents in development of adolescent habits and spirituality, so there are many webinars over there which you can see. I would strongly recommend to check them out. Thank you for your patient listening. I hope that this session was beneficial to you. The take home message is adolescents are developing. They require support and demand better qualities from them. This support and demand, that is authoritative nature of parenting, or their uh, enhances their qualities so that they will become leaders in the future and probably be better than us in life. So thank you very much. You can now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your insightful presentation. And I can certainly take out from this question is don't argue with adolescents. So that was very well narrated. And let us take the question and answer, sir, because
Okay, sir.
the questions, though most of them are already answered in your presentation, but let us be little specific in answering. The first question is the parent is having twins, and one is boy, the other is girl, and they are finding the boy is more aggressive than the girl. So, is it the normal phenomena, or they need to deal it separately?
So what we have to understand is any temperament is comes from two things: nurture and nature. So genetically or environmentally, girls are calmer, more confident, or yeah, especially or mature earlier. We exactly don't know how much part of this is nurture and how much part of this is environment, or how much part of it is their true nature. But what we know is adolescent problems, addictions, violence is more common in boys. This may not be true for each and every case. So there will always be a juvenile delinquent girl. There will always be a addictive girl as compared to boy. But overall, as girls mature more, they have less chances of problems like addictions. They seem to have land up in problems lesser as compared to boys.
Right, sir. So there is one more question. I believe if ma'am can also be available for the question and answer. So the question says that the daughter is at early adolescent age and she is very possessive even when the father hugs mother. So she feels bad about it. So is she developing some psychological thing or how to deal with that?
See, commenting on an individual case is very difficult on a public platform. But what is, it may be just a trivial thing. We don't know. See, the child's outlook may be quite different from us. She may have some other restrictions. So just sit her down with her, speak with her. What she understands by it. Why does she feel bad? Sometimes even the kid may not know. But once that topic is broached, she will approach it. She'll start thinking about it, and she'll probably, you and her will probably find the answer to it. Because we don't know the reason behind it, it is very difficult to say whether it is a problem or not. Maybe there is some thought, maybe she has seen some television serial where that expression was considered as abnormal or problematic. We don't know what is going on in her mind. And sometimes that even trivial things bother them. So don't worry, it may not be much, but clear cut communication with the kid. Just sit down with the mother. This is the child attached to you more than your mother? Why is the child attached to you but not to the mother? So you have to understand this issue. These have happened because of your styles of raising, probably how your approach with the child is, or parenting. Sit down and just have a good communication, and you will find the answer to this.
Right, sir. And there is a since we went in lockdown, the kids are still in the lockdown. So there are two different questions, but I would like to merge those. This one question is digital advancement affecting social well-being of the adolescents? And secondly, there is a father asking a question: the how to protect a son of 12 years old from using a mobile all the time, and he's playing games like Free Fire and all, and very less interested in writing, studying. Even the study or the writing is not for 1 hour as well. So the attention is also less for that matter. So what to do? I believe both these questions are quite related to each other. So
Okay.
yes, sir.
See, what has happened due to lockdown is media has become an integral part. So we are now doing this session on Zoom, which was unimaginable 6 8 months back. Second thing, it has become schooling is through a device. So parents have to give this device. Everybody has an internet connection, and once the child goes onto device, it becomes very difficult to monitor or regulate the kid. Now you have to understand, you cannot have a child who is have given all the permission to do कि तो घर में कभी भी सो सकता है, कभी भी उठ सकता है, कभी भी खा सकता है, जो चाहिए वो मांग सकता है. So this is a permissive environment, and in that period time you are only trying to find rules which are for the social media or for digital media. It cannot happen. We have to find where discipline is enforced in all aspects of his life. Discipline is not hitting, arguing, or enforcing it. Discipline is making him understanding the rules which are formulated with his consent. So discuss with him what happens due to, I am very worried about the amount of games you are playing. Other parents may be permitting, but I'm not going to pursue it. You can have access to device 1 hour, or you can have, say, you can decide the amount of access to the media, but those access will come as a privilege only if you do 1 2 3. That is, you have your food first, you complete your chores, and you complete your studies. So if you do these three things after 6 p.m., you can have an access. See, you're only worried about games because your child is young. we also have to worried about wrong access. Maybe adult websites, adult content, and cyber predators are there. So monitoring digital media is a must. Putting spyware and everything doesn't work that effectively because the kids are more intelligent than parents to assess this. You may put it, but it is better to be honest. The child discovering it on a later day and finding way around it won't help you. Communication is key. Give him access to mobile or this during a certain time. Take out their access and ensure, and you also become a role model for things which you are teaching the child. Now you take that mobile from him and you're not giving him anything to replace that. So you're taking that dopamine from him, right? Which we discussed. But you're not giving any him another replacement activity. So discuss with him what he would like to learn, whether he would like to learn a musical instrument. Maybe he would like to spend time with conversing with friends for 15-20 minutes. So some other activity which gives him that fun. So what can it be? So will he like to make something special along with mama? Let's make something special for dinner today. So something which thrills him. It may be, you can discuss with him what would you like, something else which is this I don't consider safe, nor I consider this. What other activities can we plan? And then plan it that kid will participate.
Right, sir. I would like to ask one question to ma'am, though it is the basic question which we have already answered, but just to prioritize the reason, what is the reason behind increased intensity of conflicts between parents and adolescent as they grow adolescent? And secondly, it could be, is it the parenting style, approach, or the point of view, change, difference in the point of view, or the generation gap? So there are multiple aspects to it, but according to you, how will you prioritize that, or which needs to be solved immediately?
Yeah. So the basic reason which I have already explained in the early stage, that uh, there is a chance of conflict between the parents and the adolescent at this early adolescent stage, and may increase to middle adolescent stage. It is because they are trying to find certain answers for themselves. They are trying to explore themselves. They are trying to find their self, or what I told you is they are trying to find who am I. So everywhere they have their point of view to put forth. But as a parent, even we have to understand, okay, he is not trying to back answer us. He's trying to put forth his point of view in front of us. So as a parent, if we try to be calm, understand what is going in their mind, why is he talking to us in such a way, or why is he behaving in such a way, it would be easy for the parent to talk to him or understand him in a better way. So it is a developmental phase. He's going through a lot of changes, like the biological changes, the hormonal changes, then the emotional changes. So we have to put this thing into consideration whenever you are having a talk to him or you are having an argument with him. And just as a parent, keep yourself calm, try to understand what is he saying, how what is the background behind him, why is he saying. See, generational gap is going to be there. Like we, the way we were nurtured, probably our childrens are not going to be nurtured the way we have seen life. We did not have so many things in life. We did not have so much distraction. Here, like they have mobiles, this, that. The generation is growing fast. So even like 2 year or 4 year gap would be a generational gap for them. So there would be a generation gap between the elder child and a younger child also. So this is going to be there, but if you are more open to what he is saying, probably we can avoid this conflicts. Just listen to him, just understand him what he's saying, and then try to explain your point of view, Dadu, that this is not the right way of thinking. Probably if you are thinking in this way, this would be the consequences which would come in front of you, or you may face this consequences. So if you try to explain him this way, in a certain way, this conflicts can be avoided.
I would like to add one thing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
See,
sir.
only the child is not going through changes. Even the parents are going through changes. So by the 40s, when the mother is going through the menopausal period, she also has her own hormonal issues to play with. The dad is going through the midlife crisis. We have become realistic that when we were 20, 30, we had so many dreams. Now we realize that most of the dreams are not going to fulfill. We have started to realize that life may sometime end and we may not be there to support our child, and though we are becoming worried, especially because maybe one of our parents or one of the we have seen death from nearby. So the parents are going themselves through changes. Now this they changes, they because of these changes, because of the worry which they feel for their kid, they start to change their attitudes toward the, so they start to change the rules, they start to enforce him. अरे 5वीं 6वीं तक ठीक था, आपने पढ़ाई नहीं की, अभी बहुत जरूरी है. Just because you change, the child does not realize that the change is natural. The child starts to feel that because of my fault, my parent is changing, or the child starts to think, कुछ तो problem है, मम्मा पापा में problem, and the conflict increases. You did not tell me before. पहले तो आप मुझे खेलने देते थे, अभी क्यों नहीं खेलने देते? पहले तो आपने कभी बोला नहीं, अभी क्यों बोल रहे हैं? So there's because of this. This is a hormonal dance in adolescent as well as us in midlife. So we have to first, before controlling them, control ourselves. We easily say कि मैं तो बच्चे के अच्छे के लिए तो सोच रहा हूँ. Just because you're thinking for the good of the child, your every answer does not become correct, your every approach does not become correct. First calm yourself down and then handle. If you're solving the problem by anger, मैं देख लूंगा, बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगा, मैं ऐसे मारूंगा, how do you expect the kid to understand that he can solve problem without anger? So first we have to be role models and then discuss those things with the child.
Absolutely, sir. As you said, even the title of today's session is saying attention to adolescent parenting. So it is not only attention to adolescents, but it is attention to parents as well. So how they are behaving and their stage of life. The next question, sir, is the parent is having two kids. One is of 14 years, so maybe in the early teens and adolescent. The second is of 6 years old. So their parenting approach to both the kids are different because they're at different stage of their life. So that at times creates the conflict with the adolescent child because he sees the younger one is pampered more. So how do you help them to manage this?
Sibling rivalry is very common. It happens even if the elder is 2 years old and the younger is just one, and the 2-year-old may not like mother sharing with the child. So it is very common. What we have to tell them is both of them are not going to get the same rules. We are not here to provide each of them equally each and every time because the needs will change. Maybe the financial thing will change. Maybe the qualities will be different between each kid. What we are here as parents is to provide the best to the best of your ability. So whatever privileges there are there in the family, what you bring, they have to be shared equally. Maybe it is a boy, girl, age difference, that doesn't matter. But the responsibilities and roles will be different because your people are different, your needs are different. If you have exams at different time, I'm going to enforce the curfew at different times, and this has to be clear from day one. You talk when the child comes complaining कि आप उसको बहुत ये करते हो, उसको तो एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ाई नहीं बोल रहे, मुझे बोल. Tell him his exams are fourth standard, his curriculum is low, your curriculum is high. I don't want to discuss on this. Tell me why, how much should you study, when are you going to study, and what do you require from me to study. What happens with the younger kid is out of question over here. We will discuss our studies with you. If you feel this time is good for study, this is the support, so we will make rule for you. His rules will be for him. There will be certain common family rules which will be related to the habits within the house, but when the particular rules will be there, what timing. So if they have two different school timings, probably the waking up time will be different for the both kids. You cannot enforce the same thing. The night curfew will be different. You also have to tell them that along with responsibilities, privileges are also different. So your young elder son or elder child may get privileges, that he may get more time outside, he may go on his own, he may take certain decisions which the younger one cannot. So with privileges you also get responsibilities according to your age. We are not here to make each and everything same because it cannot happen. This has to be communicated. If you feel that we are being, come and discuss with us at that time instead of fighting. We will not encourage fights. If the fights are there, we'll give consequences, whatever. You come and discuss, and we will solve it at that time. That has to be communicated.
Right, rightly said. There is one more question regarding the diet. So at times in the quest, keeping themselves fit, and there is obsession of different using different diets, maybe ketogenic and all other. So, but at times the starvation can affect them on a long run. So, what is your view on that?
See, there are two things in this. One is food fads and extreme diets.
Yes.
So each kid has a certain food fad. So somebody does not like to eat tomato, somebody does not like to eat something, some vegetable. So if he is having complete balanced diet, we don't mind minor food fads. Every adolescent, because of that dopamine rush, will always prefer junk food more. But we have to have a family rule that, Baba, if you follow the diet plan for the whole week, Sunday you can have something from McDonald's or something which you like or something I will make. But for the 6 days we have to follow certain rules. Taste I can decide, but the choices which have to be given should be healthy. Then there is something which is extreme diets, maybe ketogenic diet, protein diet. Don't do it yourself. Just because you read something on the internet, don't try to follow it. Do it under advice. Do it considering the health conditions of the kid. Just because his two friends are doing, don't follow it blindly. But the child's body is growing. So a diet which is for 45-year-old person to lose weight is not good for a 15-year-old growing body, because that will affect his height or other problems. So what we have to consider is factors with the affecting child. So extreme diet avoid. Within the balanced diet, if he has to make minor changes according to his taste, let him have the freedom, let him enjoy that. And once in a while any other food is all right, but overall diet should be healthy.
Right, sir. And there is one different question. The girl is of 16 years of age, and she got obsessed with the tattoos, having too many tattoos on the body. So, how the obsession can be managed, or maybe how badly it can affect the skin of the girl?
What happens is there are role models in the society who promote or enhance them. Why is the child in favor of the tattoos? Is it because their favorite hero or heroine has them? So understand, speak with the person, tell them the effect. What happens is, tomorrow if the child is wanting to go and serve in the army, probably they won't accept him. If he wants to do certain jobs, tattoos may badly reflect on certain job structures. So all officers may not consider them normal. See, understand, tell them that this age is not there. What you can do is, there are temporary tattoos. No? You can use temporary tattoos for certain functions. You can use mehndi tattoos for certain functions, and you can enjoy that feeling. Something, there are cases where people have written their girlfriend, boyfriend's name, and there is a breakup after 6 months. Now what to do? How to erase that? How to? So these are small problems. So tell them, for the sake, for my love, I will support you on this by doing temporary tattoos, everything. After 25, you, once you settle down, you can then follow whatever you want. Because by the age of the child becomes 25, usually either these things subside or they have assimilated within them. So just get it this. Now, is the obsession result of some other issues? Now, few people may get unhealthy obsessions where they do that thing even if it pains them or even if it harms them. Then it may be a psychological or psychiatric issue, and we will have to have necessary consultations. But first, at the parental level, communicate with the child. Why is the child in that habit? Who are the child's role model? Then you have to make the child realize that you look at a hero. That hero is has that fame or that qualities not because he smokes or he has tattoos. We have to emulate the qualities which made him the hero. So if you are following Shah Rukh Khan is Shah Rukh Khan not because he smokes. Shah Rukh Khan is Shah Rukh Khan because he was having that, let's say, hunger for success. He had had that drive to push himself to excellence. Imbibe those qualities. These qualities are not going to help you to become successful. If you are looking for success or if you are looking for a certain look, you're not going to become Mako by using tattoos, or you're not going to become beautiful by using tattoos. that association is wrong. So you when you the kid realizes or the kid is prevented for few days, gradually that obsession decreases. That is what we can do.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you very much for your guidance for the parents to handle adolescents. And we at I Am the Best Mom believe in giving you the right guidance with series of episodes. Even on next Thursday, we will have separate topic. Even on next Saturday, we will have some separate session. We will keep notifying you. And last month, we have taken one initiative for the World Disability Day to create the awareness about autism. So it was Art for Autism, where globally around 880 uh, paintings and art form came to us, and more than 10,000 people have voted for them. So the link I am putting in the
You're mute, sir. You're mute, sir. You're mute for the last.
Yeah, sir. So I was talking about I Am the Best Mom. We are taking such initiatives every week, and even in the next week we will have a separate topic. Last month we have taken the initiative called Art for Autism, which was mainly for World Disability Day. We were creating the awareness about autism. More than 800 people have participated, and more than 10,000 people have voted for that. So I have put the link in the chat window. I would request all the panelists to go and visit once. You will like the initiative. So once again, thank you very much, sir and ma'am, for your wonderful guidance.
There is a question, one more, I think Dr.
Okay.
Shilpa has asked, who is again on the
Yeah,
chat.
regarding the discipline, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yes,
So there's one more question. So, Dr.
we
Sandeep,
can take that, ma'am. You can
Okay.
that question. Yeah.
so how to convince child to follow the discipline? Example, to keep his things properly.
So let's say the children won't like pressure, nagging. So what we can do is depend on the age of the kid also. Let's make a game out of it. So I will come into your room twice a day and check the things which are kept on the table. So give him targets, explainable, and I will note down. If next month, whole month, I do not catch you things lying around for more than 5 times, you will get this gift. This will be a gift because you have kept the room clean and tidy for the whole month. If I catch it more than 5 times, your privilege of watching TV will be taken away for the next 3 days. So make it as a fun game. Make it as a challenge to the kid. Okay, let's see if my table is better than yours, and father will be the judge. The mom keeps a competition. Make it interesting for them. Don't make it a forced activity or something which something to beat him upon, and help him. So now he fails it. Now sit with him. "And I thought you would win the gift this time. What happened? So what's the problem? Why do you forget to keep it? So next time what we'll do, you rush to the class and you forget things. So let's keep a reminder of 10 minutes before time, so that you get those 10 minutes, so you can keep these things fast before this, so that the room will be clean. So he knows, okay, my mama is watching me. Mama is also helping me to win that prize. So then he doesn't have conflict with you. He starts to engage with you, and he starts to follow. So let's not make it an issue of discipline, a big thing. Let's make it a game. So you can start these games even when your child is 4 or 5 years old. Small things. After food, you have to keep your plate. And when the child keeps the plate, you clap. Wow, you did a good thing. So child understands that following responsibility gets me praise. Following responsibility gets me. So when your other friend comes, tell, he's very responsible for his age. Even for he will keep the class. So child will start to enjoy those activities more, and he will start to do these things. Make him a house responsibility, which is not his own personal, a duty to him, which he has to follow. Once he gets into that habit of doing that thing, gradually increase that level. Whenever your child does good thing, praise him. Just think, in the last 1 week, how many times you have praised your kid and how many times you have criticized. It happens that months have passed since we have praised our kid. He's doing well for his age, so why are only criticizing him? equally praise him for his good things, he'll start to give those good things more and more attention. And this is how you convince your child for discipline instead of just making a show of discipline.
So here I would like to add one thing is, if you keep shorter goals for your child, like not the whole room, but a smaller goals, like okay, today, this week only for the books, or this week only for his clothes, or something like that. Adolescents tend to follow that pretty well, because what happens is like these children may lose focus very soon. So if you give them a bigger target, there are chances of failures more. So start with the smaller goals so that they achieve the success.
Yes, ma'am. And there is one more question. I believe it is linked to this. Uh, the 13-year-old child and how to develop the child positively, how to keep them engaged and develop positively.
What I would say is the positively develop is every child has certain good qualities and every child or every person has certain weaknesses. So we have to keep on discussing with the child. So maybe the child is very good in studies, but he doesn't have skills to go out with and speak or express with public. Some children are opposite. They can go outside and express, but they cannot discuss, or they are not good in studies. So understand the child's strength, help him to work on his weaknesses, give him smaller targets so that see, you are not good at in maths. So what we'll do is instead of targeting, we'll just try to see that our portion is complete and we achieve better marks than last time. So maybe you received 60% in maths last time, let's target 70% this time. So can you do that? To work on him. So when you positively work on him, instead of making it an issue between or a fight between the parents, the child starts to take part in those activities. Child starts to enjoy this. When the child realizes that my hard work and my consistent effort gives me positive results, the child will gradually start to do this more and more times. And then we have to make him understand that in this journey sometimes failure occurs. Failure not yours, we are with you. Even though you give, we are seeing your efforts were good, we are with you. You keep on giving good efforts, you will be successful next time. So you do take him through this journey and the child will give more and more efforts, and definitely the child will give better results and be more successful. So this is how you engage the child. Gradual small efforts in the right direction, enhancing his strength and making him understand these are his weaknesses, helping him in the weaknesses. What we have to also show is that we also are working on our weaknesses. So if I am not good in physical exercise, then the parent has to make an effort. You see, I was not exercise, but now since last 3 months I am doing continuous exercise, so it is helping me. So why don't you also try this in your life? Maybe it will also help you. So you become a role model for him for positive thinking, for positive benefits. This is how you can engage him.
Yes, sir. And before we close down, there is very important question came right now. Is what should be parents' reaction when they first time know that his child is smoking or drinking?
Reaction will depend on the child's age also. If there are parents also in this world who sit with the child for the first drink so that he doesn't have this habit from outside. I don't know, correct, right, wrong. It will be depend the reaction of the child. There are North Indian families who will say, "Are wa mera puttar bada ho gaya." So there are no right or wrong reactions to this. It will depend on your own conditioning and your kids' conditioning, your kids' age. Most of us would probably feel shocked, but just because you are feeling shocked to express that thing on the child and label the child is wrong, calm down. Now, whatever has happened. Sit with the child and understand why he has that desire to smoke or drink and what happened. Then, many a times it is due to peer pressure. Many a times the child does not have confidence to express. So, because of his peers' influence, he has done it. Many times he feels that this is the thing to become macho, or this is the thing, hip thing. My parents are old fashioned. This is about generation. Understand his issues. Tell them that this is not helpful. Maybe at that time you may require certain counseling, especially if the child is habitual to it or the child is not feeling uh, remorse about it. Then at that time, professional help may also be needed so that this does not get converted into addictions. It will also depend on overall the child's habit. If it is a delinquent child who is now getting into addictions, who was already in problem with discipline with the authorities, he is liable to land up in bigger troubles. Whereas a very good disciplined child has made a mistake for the first time, maybe the parents can handle it empathetically by sitting with him and discussing this issue with him. We can make this issue as big as we want, and there are parents who do that. What happens is the child keeps on smoking and drinking, but he does it behind your back. So please don't do that.
Right, sir. The way you are answering, I believe I personally can keep on listening to your guidance, and it's absolutely insightful. So, but I would thank all the attendees to be here. If you further have any questions, I have already given the email ID in the chat window. You can ask your questions, and we will try to answer it with the sir and ma'am's advice as well. So, thank you once again, ma'am. Thank you once again, sir, and we will love to conduct few more sessions very specific to this adolescent age group again.
Thank you very much. And these platforms like I am the best mom is very good way. They help us to interact. We all are going through this problem. See, I am as a professional also going through all these problems as a parent, but this helps us a platform to interact, and such platforms are the need of the hour. So thank you for them, and all the best for this initiative to reach more and more audience and more changes, so that the next generation benefits from this knowledge and discussion. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye bye.